This video will show you how to mount these black nickel lights. These things are such nice quality, you'll just love them. They're really nice. The wires coming out the back are really nice. They're just, the bulbs go in and out real easily. They're just, and it's a common size bulb. It's an 1157, which is a real common size. The only problem is you need to run the different colors like we show here. Okay, now if you'll notice first here, you always want to run a red bulb in the back and an amber in the front. The reason for that is because we run these as running lights and signal lights. So in the rear especially, it's not legal to run an amber if you're running running lights. Okay, so let's get started on this. First thing you want to do is, let me show you how to pop the lens off to change the bulb. It's real simple on these. This is a nice feature here. You just find the little slot in the lens. Just stick a screwdriver in there and just pry that, and the lens will pop right off. Okay, then to install the bulb, all you do is you'll have to find the slots that are parallel each other there, and then you'll have to make sure that the barbs are going in the right slot. But you just push the light in there and rotate it clockwise. It's supposed to be easy. There you go. So that's it. Just push it down there, rotate it clockwise, and there you have it. Then just pop the lens back on. Make sure it's seated good. And also make sure that the slot is down on the bottom side so it looks a little cleaner once you mount it. And also easier to pop it off later. And then one other thing you want to check for is make sure when you mount these on the motorcycle, and you want to mount them first before you do anything with the wires. So go ahead and mount the lights first. And then this is like the Suzuki bracket. This is just an example. It's an unpainted one. But the light will always mount in the slotted hole. Then the wire will mount through the hole in the back. So feed the wire through as you mount this on there, and then run the wires into the area where you're going to connect them, and then go ahead and cut the wires off later. So you want to mount the lights first before you get started. So that's how it goes. And one thing too, I mentioned it several times in the video, but don't over tighten these nuts there, because it's a hollow stem. You might break that stem off, and that's why we use these star washers. That'll locate against the brackets, and it'll keep the lights from rotating. That way you don't have to over tighten them. And then one other quick note here. Okay, like I say, you're going to go ahead and you're going to cut the wires off later, and then what it'll do is it'll expose the wires coming out of the lights here. And say you're going to do this on your own. I just thought I'd just give you a quick note on this. Okay, the purple wire is the flasher. That's the flasher in the light. And then the blue wire is the running light portion. That's the light that stays on all the time. It's important that you get those two correct, because if you get them backwards, what will happen is the light will be too bright and you'll never see the flasher. So blue is the running light, purple is the flasher, and then black is the ground. So that's how they work. So thanks again for purchasing these bad boys, and let's get started on showing you how to mount them up to your bike. Let's go ahead and mount these good looking black nickel lights on the back of your Vulcan 800. Okay, there's a hole in the back of this seat bridge. Now this seat bridge will be fastened to your bike. I'm just going to show you on the bench here, but that should be fastened to your bike. So go ahead and just mount the bullet light in the hole with the slot. And be sure and put the star washer between the light and the bracket there. What that does is when you tighten the nut on the other side, it'll suck that washer, or that star washer, against the outside of that bracket and keep that light from rotating. That way you don't have to over tighten it, because those are hollow studs. You don't want to over tighten the nut on the back side. So make sure the star washer's on the outside. Oh, and you'll notice we've got the red lenses. You'll put the red bulbs in yours. I just put the lens on to show you the red. So, okay, and then I'll show you where the wire runs. If you have this later version, the wire will run in the hole there. There's two wire tie holes right here too. So the wire will run behind that, and then you can wire tie that wire in place there. That'll hold it kind of neat and tidy on the inside there. So there you go. So go ahead and mount your lights, and then run the wires out the back, and then we'll show you how to hook them up. Okay, now being these lights have such long wires on them, you don't need to go through the wire section on the small bullet lights. You just run these wires just like this. Now what you want to do is you want to cut the wires off. You don't want to run them this long because they'll have too much wire left over on your bike. So kind of run the wire back to where you're going to plug everything in, and then cut the main wire off. And then after you do that, go ahead and strip the sheathing off. And what you'll do is you'll expose the wires here. There's 3 wires in each of these main wires. Go ahead and strip these back. Okay, if you'll notice the wires, there's a blue wire, a black wire, and a purple wire. There's a blue and black and purple on each side. Go ahead and, what we want to do now, we want to label the blue wire. Because what that is, the blue wire is the running light, and that'll plug into the keyed power on the orange Y connector. That's this Y connector that you should plug into your bike. It should be plugged in by now because you're going to go by the main video to this point. So go ahead and label the blue wires. Put a piece of the orange tape on there. That orange tape is in your kit. And then the other 2 wires you don't need to identify. Oh, and then go ahead and crimp these male connectors on there. Crimp them really nice and tight. Make sure they don't come off. So go ahead and strip the wires, crimp those male connectors on. Okay, what we'll do now, all you have to do really is just kind of color match them. So you're going to plug the orange tape and taped wire into the orange Y connector. Same this side. Plug that orange into the one. It doesn't matter which one you plug it into, any of those 3. Just plug the orange wires into the orange Y connector. Okay, your next step, you're going to go ahead and plug the black wire. This is the black, 2 blacks. You're going to plug that into the black Y connector. Now that is your ground, so that's really important. You don't want to, if you screw that up, you'll blow a fuse. If you get the grounds correct, you should be okay. So black to black, black to black. Okay, then all it leaves is the purple wires left over. So those purple wires, let me grab my little note here. Okay, on the left side of your bike, you'll plug the one purple wire into the green wire on your bike. That's your left signal light. Now the purple wire is a hotter filament inside the signal light, so it'll blink a lot brighter. If you get these mixed up, your signal light won't blink. It'll just kind of be on really bright, but you won't see it blink. So the purple wire is the hottest one. So the purple wire on the left goes into the green wire on the motorcycle, and then the purple wire on the right side goes into the gray wire on the motorcycle. So once you plug those in just like that, you should be able to turn the key on and everything should work. Let's hope, huh? So anyway, that's basically all there is to the installing these rear lights. Refer to the main video on all this stuff, and it'll show you where to tuck the wires in and on all that stuff. So refer to that all you can, and then that should do her. Let's go ahead and do the fronts. Okay, let's mount these cool black nickel lights on the front of your Vulcan now. Go ahead and lay these the light out just like this. Make sure you got the amber bulb in the fronts. Always ambers in the fronts. And then let's go ahead and cut that wire off at 14 inches. Show you right there. Cut it off at 14 inches and we'll continue on. Okay, the next thing we want to do is remove these from the motorcycle. Now, I've left these connectors on here just to explain one thing. Now, these are your connectors on your wires will look different. They'll be the ones from the motorcycle, but I left these on there just to make sure. And then, if you'll notice, I say bike connectors. So, refer to the main video, and on the main video, we actually leave these quite a bit longer. But for now, we're going to cut these like 4 or 5 inches so that our total length when we splice these wires to the main wire will be about 18 to 19 inches. So anyway, whatever. These are the bike connectors, motorcycle. Okay, now this is the wire that you just cut. Go ahead and strip the sheathing off the outside. And inside the wire, the main wire, you'll see 3 wires. There's the blue wire, the black, and the purple. Now what we want to do is we want to butt splice these wires from the motorcycle to these wires that you just come out of the signal light. So let's go ahead and match these up. Here's the little small butt splicers. I've put those on the end of the wires here. Go ahead and butt splice these, just match the colors just as I show here. Oh, now one thing too, you'll notice I put the heat shrink here. Go ahead and do these one at a time when you heat shrink them, because you don't want to heat shrink these accidentally. They'll won't be in the right place. So you have to put the heat shrink on before you butt splice. Okay, well actually not. I take that back because these are smaller, so you could slide the heat shrink over that, but excuse me anyway. Okay, so what we want to do is match up the colors. So we got blue to blue, black to black, and then we've got purple to gray. So these colors will match, and then you just put the gray wire on the purple. What these are, this is the running light, this is the ground, and that's the flasher. So go ahead and butt splice those together, heat shrink those on the outside, and we'll go ahead and show you how to plug these bad boys into the motorcycle. Okay, go ahead and follow the video on how to mount these brackets to the motorcycle. The front light video will show you how to mount those. You should end up with that little bump down, and then this is how the light mounts to that bracket once you get it on the motorcycle. There again, it's the star washer on this side, so the star washer's in between the light and the bracket. And then you don't have to get too carried away with a nut on the back. Just make it so they don't swivel. And you can run this cable just along there, maybe wire tie it, whatever, just to make it look real nice on the bike. So anyway, I think once you get those mounted, just go ahead and follow the rest of the front light video, the main video, and then you should be able to mount those lights and run the wires up and just kind of plug them in according to that video, and they should work just fine. So if not, go back on that main video and double check the wire colors and stuff. But these are really cool because it's much easier to install these than even the small bullet lights. So there you go. There's the Vulcan 800 front lights.